Blue Water CRM, cloud-based CRM software specifically designed for collection agencies, debt buyers, and sellers. Let's log in. Okay, you can see we are logged in as administrator. In this video, we are going to review all of the management links and the functionality in the management section. Let's go to the left side and click on management. You can see we have a bunch of different links that can help you manage and maintain the system, as well as give options to your employees and clients, as well as set up alerts in the systems. The first link, DNC by state, province, and territory. When I click on it, I can see a list of all the states and territories in the system. I can see a status, meaning is that particular state a contact state or a do not contact state. I can manage cities and I can search for cities. You can see right here that this California is set to contact. However, Colorado is set to do not contact. When this is set to do not contact, the Colorado accounts will not appear in any campaign for dial a letter, and it will be blacked out on the advisor side of the system. Let's go to the left and click Manage City. We get a pop-up. This state is DNC. You cannot manage cities and states for this because the entire state has been DNC'd. If I go to California, I click on Manage City. I get a list of all the cities that we have in the system. You can see right here the list of them by alphabetically. You can see how many accounts are in that zip code and how many of them are DNC. I can set the DNC or unset the DNC by simply clicking on these links right here. Click the back button. I can do a city search if I like. Right here, there's a wildcard, so I can put whatever I want, and the system will search in that particular state. The next link is Incorporate Notes. Let's click on that. The Incorporate Notes has two very unique functions. Incorporate Notes, yes or no. If you click yes, anywhere in the system where a Social Security number or SIN matches another account in the system, the notes that anyone takes across those accounts will be linked together. So if you say something on one account, that information will be propagated across all accounts. The second thing is to incorporate the callback date. Same thing. If the Social Security number or the SIN matches, when the call date is changed, it'll be changed across all of the different accounts within the system that meets that criteria. The next link, Custom Labels. When I click on this, you can see a bunch of different labels in the system, the field name that it is, the label name, what people see. You can see who created it and who last modified it. Anytime you change the information here, the system will automatically update, and wherever that ID is, it will come out to the name that you decided. So it'll appear on the collector's side, the manager's side, it'll appear on letters, and so on. Let's look at credit card submission limit and check submission limit. When I click on submission limit, I see a timeout of 2 for credit cards, and I see a timeout of 2 for checks. This is a very key element to the system. Every time you ping the gateway, depending on the type of account it is or the deal you have with your e-commerce vendor, you could spend anywhere from 25 cents to a couple of dollars for that gateway charge, whether the transaction is good or bad. What this does is it allows you to set a limit for a particular credit card number or a checking account number, so that when it hits the gateway, if it sees it more than twice, it's not going to allow it to go through. It's going to say, listen, this cannot go through. This account is ping the gateway, and this is a bad account number. The manager does have the ability to override it, but the collector, when they make the assignment and they try to submit it through, it will stop it. This is a great feature, and you can set this to whatever you want. The next link is Department Access. When I click on Department Access, what this does, and this is for large organizations, if I have department access, limit access to only manager's department, that means that when a manager logs into the system, they will only be able to see accounts and items for their department only. If this is checked, they'll be able to see everything and work across department. Next thing is customer dispositions. These are the dispositions that you see on the collector side. These are the check boxes on the other side of the system. You can see that some of them are white and some of them are red. Anything here that you set to red means that it locks down the account and nothing else will be able to be done. So if you set a red disposition, that means that the account is locked down. And when a collector is in the system or a manager and they click one of these checkboxes, the system is locked down. Let's do this. Let's click add. I'm going to create a abbreviation. Let's just call it TT. Call it ticket. This is a hold disposition, meaning this is a red disposition. I click that. I click that. I hit submit. And you can see right down here, here's the ticket that I created. Right now it is inactive, not active. If I click that, this will become an active disposition and will appear on the collector side of the system. You can see right here a listing of all of the different options. There's a DB for disputed balance. Some of these are in red and some of these in black. So anything you create on the other side of the system will appear here. Okay, let's click on customer dispositions. When I click on customer dispositions, I see this portal, and you can see that some of the items are in white and some of them are on red. We can add a disposition, we can edit a disposition, we can delete, we can set it to active or not active, we can give it a name, and then there's a 2-letter abbreviation that you can give to them that will appear on the collector's side of the system. So anything that's set to red here will appear on the collector side and the manager side. The key thing to know is that when you create a red disposition and a collector clicks on it, that account is automatically locked down and will not be able to be used. The other thing to remember is that once it's set to a red disposition or a hold, the collector will not be able to undo it. A manager will need to log in and change that so that the system keeps its integrity, meaning collectors will not be able to undo red based dispositions in the system. If I click on edit, I can see that the abbreviation for this is DB. The disposition pop-up, or what it actually does, is a disputed balance. We can see that this is a hold disposition and that it's currently active. If I hit the back button and I click add, I can see that I can create my own dispositions and put them into the system. Okay, you can see right here from the collector side, here are the dispositions. You can see that some of them are in black and some of them are in red. These match up to the same dispositions that we just saw on the other side. Black dispositions are your basic dispositions, first party talk off. Anything in red, when a collector clicks on those, let's do this. You can see right here that the red disposition left message pops up. The account is now locked down, and now the collector cannot change this. So this is where all your disposition, and you can add as many as you like. If you wanted to, you could create attorney ones, you can create outsource ones. That way it's much easier for you to pull accounts. Okay, the next link we're going to look at is the state pop-ups. So let's click state pop-ups, and you can see a listing of all the states and provinces across USA and across Canada. You can see that some of these do not have a pop-up, some of them do. If you scroll down, and let's take a look at New York, because that does have a pop-up. So you can see right here, here is our New York. It does have a pop-up. If I click on Edit, I can see in New York, when leaving a message, don't forget the mini Miranda. Now, what these pop-ups essentially do is that when a collector is working an account and it's from a particular state that there's information they need to share, like the mini Miranda, or whatever you deem is necessary, you can customize these how you wish. When the collector logs into a New York account, a pop-up box will appear from them that will freeze the account. The collector must interact with that pop-up first to get access to the system. So that way your audit trail and your backup systems all have that information there. So if someone claims, hey, the person didn't give me this information, the person didn't read me the mini Miranda, you can go in and say, well, they clicked on this, and then you can ask the collector, did you just click on this or did you give this information? And if you're recording your phone calls, these things can be all synced up so that you can work across all of these different things. This is a very cool tool, and this is a pop-up for every single state in the system. The next link is create close reasons, and you can see right here, this create close reason is for you to create reasons to close an account. You have client recall, disputed balance, fraud. If you hit edit, you can see it's very simple information. You could add them, edit, delete, and if you want to keep them, you can keep them. You can also make them active or inactive. This ties into the querying for you to actually close accounts. Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to click on Query Accounts, select Query, and just for now, I'm just going to grab this right here, grab a couple accounts, hit Search Data, and you can see right here, there's a bunch of different things, and these will be covered in individual demonstrations as we go on. But since we're working on Close, let's click Close, hit Submit. When I hit Submit, it's querying the entire system. It's showing me right here that there's a total of 7 records that amount to 21,000 and change. If you look below it, there's a bunch of things right down here you can see based on this query that already are kind of closed or maybe not shouldn't be pulled. So there's some bankruptcy, which you may want to close. There's some closed ones. There's some DMC. There's some PIFs, post dates, and so on. There are items that are red dispositions, which is part of the hold code. I can choose to override them, or I can simply just take the 7 that I have and move those to a closed status. So let's hit submit. And when I do that, we can see a list of the 7 accounts that had no issues and for us to close. When I hit the drop down, you can see right here all of the different reasons. So we only had 3 and only 3 appear. So I hit client recall, I hit submit, I hit the checkbox, I click assign close. Now that account is closed. And when you run your client report or any reports in the system, that will be reflected. Let's go back to our management link. The next is our managed interest rate. Another great feature in the system. You can see that there's interest rates pre-programmed into the system. These are our default interest rates. I highly recommend that you go through each and every single state or province and make sure that you have the right interest rate. This is a key component for when you're importing files. If you import a file and you use the statewide interest rate, the system will look at this table and apply interest to the accounts based on the information here. So this is a key component of the import tool, and you need to make sure that these interest rates are correct. These are default, and you can just see that they've all been set to 10%. The next link is Add Edit IP Addresses. When I click on that, I can see a list of IP addresses. IP addresses are key to the system. Managers, clients, collectors, anyone getting access to the system must have an IP address programmed into the software. So if an employee is working from home, or you have a remote office, or someone's trying to get access to the system, you must have their IP address. It must be in here, otherwise the system will not even show up on their screen. So this is a great security feature. It's another level of security that we add to the system. You must have an IP address. It must be programmed in here. If it is not, they will not be able to get access. The next link is create state letter verbiage. You can see right here that these are all of the state letter verbiage These are key to the PDF system within our lettering system. If you get a chance, please watch our how to create a letter and export it. But right here you can see the letter verbiage. Now, the letter verbiage can be changed or modified at will. So let's click on California. I click on View Verbiage. I get a little pop-up, and this is the State Rosenthal Act and the information about that. If I want, I can edit it. And here's the information for this particular letter, or for this particular state. The key to this managed letter verbiage is that once the information is here, when you create a letter in the system through the PDF generator, it will automatically look here and grab any required letter verbiage, so you do not have to remember it. So if you create a letter for California, when the system starts running, you'll be able to pull that information automatically. You will not have to remember to put it on a letter. Let's go next to manage payment types. And you can see there's a bunch of different payment types within the system. You can turn them on or off. You can decide if there's a processing fee and what that amount should be. There's business checking, a whole bunch of different ones. You can see some of them are active in the system, some of them are inactive. When you go to make a payment in the system, the things that are active will appear in the dropdown and you'll be able to get and make payments. This managed payment type is matched up with the payment gateway component in the system that allows you to add multiple gateways. So this is a very good system. It allows you to put your fees in here as well as your information. These are the scope of what we have here. So you can see business checking all the way down to direct payment. You can add your own fees and so on. Let's go to the next link, Second Voice. Second Voice is simply a two choice. Either you can have a second voice or you don't have a second voice. Second voice essentially means that when a collector takes a payment, that they're not able to process the payment until another collector talks to the debtor and makes sure and confirms that the debt is good and that two people have spoken to the same debtor. Think of it this way. Joe gets on a phone call, he talks to the debtor says, great, I'm going to pay $10. The collector goes, great, click submit. When they click submit, that payment gets queued. Another collector must jump on the phone and say, hey, this is Sandy. You spoke with Joe. You're going to make a $10 payment. Great. They hit submit. The great thing about this is from a NACHA compliance standpoint, as well as just a good audit standpoint, the note field will reflect that two people spoke to the debtor, that information was confirmed, and that it hit the gateway with both of these collectors talking to them. One of the key things that's nice is if you have a PBX or a dialer system that is recording it, we can actually link the systems up and take the voice call and integrate it and match it up with the account in the system. So this is a very interesting system. I know some people don't use second voice, but this is a feature that's there if you want to have a double voice or a double person talking to a debtor. Let's look at the next link, set reverse fee. The reverse fee is for any credit card that bounces in the system or is refused. You can set this to whatever you want. It can be 0 if you like. You can manage routing numbers. So there's a whole bunch of routing numbers. I believe there's 30 to 35,000 separate banking numbers in here. You can come in here and you can actually search and see what banking numbers are available. And you can see right here, I just typed in city. The great thing about this is you get the bank phone number. So if you wanted to confirm funds or do something with the information, you can actually do that. The manage routing numbers is also available on the collector side. So if a collector is on the phone with a debtor and they have their account number but don't know their routing number, they'll be able to look it up and help them. Let's look at the next link, set SOL years, which is statute of limitations. We have some pre-programmed. I would recommend that you check this and make sure that these are the correct statute of limitations by years. This is used for you to date the accounts and appears on the collector side of the system. It tells the collector how many days until the statute runs out. It also tells you when the statute has run out. So this is a very good tool for you to manage liability and make sure you're doing everything you can to control your compliance. The next link is manage state, province, territory, and NSF fees. Here, by state, you can set the bounce fees or check bounce fees for any state or province in North America, in Canada, and in the US. Whatever you set right here from a dollar amount, when the gateway goes out and pings the data or goes out to the ACH window and brings it back. If it bounced, the system will automatically assign a fee based on state that you have right here, and it will apply to the account. So your fees will go up. You'll get your check bounced. You'll be aware. The check itself will appear in the exception report for the collector, and they'll be able to interact with it. Another one, we've set some defaults here, but I would highly recommend you checking these and making sure that these are the right fees for you. The next thing is time zone management. Time zone management is a interesting tool, and this just shows you what time zones everything's in. So if your system is being geared for a certain time zone, you can set that here. All of the time zones are set. I would recommend going through these to make sure that they're all set, because there are some states that have crossover cities that you need to be aware of. The next link is Manage SSN and SIN. When I click on this, this allows me to cross-associate social security numbers or social insurance numbers for Canada across the system. Another powerful tool just to give you a hold on what's going on. The next, we have country selection. If you like, you can have this run in US mode or Canada mode or both. You can set the number of days that are in the heat map. We'll go into the heat maps in the discussions of the dashboards, but you can set the calculations within the system, and you can have a US system, a Canadian system, or a system that does both. The next 5 links right here, update account cost, update contingency, interest, update interest run, and update markdown percent, are very similar in that they allow you to globally assign variables to any account in the system. So if I click up account cost would mean that I've purchased accounts and I have a dollar amount that's assigned. So let's say I imported a file and I bought it at 6 cents on the dollar. However, I realized that it was actually 7 cents on the dollar. I could come in here, click on account cost. I can do a search for those particular items. I hit search. It'll go through the system. It'll show me all the accounts that meet that. I can enter an amount here. Let's say it's up to 7 cents, 0.7. I click here and it assigns it to all of these accounts, and then the system will be updated with the new cost. One of the interesting uses that I've seen for the account cost, the contingency component is, let's say you have a client that deals with selling paper as well as contingency. And let's say they make you an offer. They say, hey, listen, you can buy this for 5 cents on the dollar, or I'll give you a 30% commission. What this can allow you to do through the reporting system is you can actually compare the success of being at a 30% contingency versus a 6 cent per on the dollar, and compare those two to see if you made the right choice. So if you collected $100 on a total portfolio, $30 of that comes to you. Now, if you would have purchased that same thing, you would have paid 6 cents on each of the dollars. So it would have been a different kind of purchase. And it's great from an actuarial, it's great from a planning standpoint for you to be able to care. So even though an account comes in as contingency, you can set it for a purchase so that you can do comparison to it. Thank you for watching this video. Each video is designed to give you an in-depth overview of every single component of the system. My goal is to make you a blue water CRM expert. Thank you for watching.